Hi, Sharon here, and I'm going to try and do a short video. I know, me doing a short video, never heard of such a thing. I'm going to try. Um, I just wanted to do a video talking a bit about relativity as I've been understanding it recently. Not the Albert Einstein relativity, but in a very different way. And I talk about it in the video about the new metaphor about cleaning the window. But I just wanted to do a separate video on this. Just very quickly trying to explain sort of the premise behind it, because it's a really important understanding, I think, that really helps to inform not just our lives, but I feel like it's got applications for the creation of a better world system and better systems in the world. And we've been talking a lot in 2020 about systemic change. And the problem is that we really know what we don't want, but we tend not to know what we do really want to replace it. And so I feel like this has a real part to play in the understanding of when we want to create something different, how we create it better. So, relativity, as I'm talking about it, and if I use a word that you don't like, just substitute it. I don't believe that consciousness cares what you call it. It's not into its labels, so you can call it what you like. I tend to call it consciousness, or you can call it super consciousness, or you can call it the universe, or God, or you can call it anything you want. So if you don't like the word that I use, I often use the word divine as well, but if you don't like the word I'm using, just pick another word. Don't ask me to change it. I use them interchangeably, so it's just a word. So, but what I mean by that is, humans think we're the top of like all of creation, but we're not. So whatever created us, something that's bigger than us, more intelligent than us, that is the basis that created life itself as we know it. So we exist within consciousness. We come from consciousness, we return to consciousness, and we are as we are living consciousness. So I could go into this in a much more deeper matter, but this is not the video for that. So if we accept the fact that something greater than us, we are an idea, we are an idea in something that is greater than us. We are a concept. And life was created, and it was created for variety. Life wanted to experience itself in all of its varieties, and therefore it created life with infinitesimal variety. Proof of that, there are 7 billion people on the planet, and none of us are the same. We can't even catalogue all the, we really can't catalogue all the animals, birds, fish, things in the sea, creatures, plants, trees. We can't. Because why? Because the variety is so great. So life was created to be varied. And there was no judgment in that. All of life is equal in its contribution to life. Life was created as a interconnected, interwoven system that all contributes in some way to something. And if you ever watch a wildlife program, you will know and you will see for yourself that in the animal kingdom we can see that certain animals eat certain things, and then certain other animals eat those animals, and so on, right? We all depend on each other in some way, and everything contributes to something in some way. And if you're into wildlife and into nature, you will know this already, right? I don't need to tell you this. And humans are not separate from life, and we are also part of life, and we too each individually have a contribution to be made, right? So there was never meant to be any judgment in this system. There is no hierarchy in this system. It was created hierarchical. I don't know if there's a word for this. Hierarchical less. Right? There's no hierarchy. Everything contributes. Everything is dependent and interdependent on each other. And that is how it was created. And then humans come along with our lovely egoic mind, and we create a judgment everywhere we turned. Like literally everywhere. Everything is a judgment. And judgment is the killer of all happiness, joy, harmony, peace. So why are we so miserable in 2020 when we are, technically more advanced than we've ever been? I wonder what the reason could that be. Judgment. So let me explain about this relativity idea. So within the whole of consciousness, there are objects, and those objects we consider to be life. And those objects are two things. Now, they don't have any difference in terms of equality, but we see these two things and we create a judgment. And we say that's different to that. We classify things. We label things in the world. We classify everything. And we taught to label. What do you teach children? You don't teach them complex ideas. You go, pig, cow, moo, that moos, that barks, that's a dog, you eat those, you don't eat those, or whatever. So you label and you classify. And this label and classification then ends up turning into judgment. We say, that's not the same as that. Oh, I like that, I don't like that. That one has greater value to me, that one doesn't. And so we start judging things. And we judge everything that's not us. Funnily enough, though, we also judge everything that is us. We're just lovely judging machines, as if judging made anything better. So we do all this judgment, and we do it so subconsciously we don't realise it. We're so conditioned into judging everything, we don't stop to question everything that we judge. Now, we can see certain things that there is judgment there. So things like in society, we can see judgments like sexism and racism. That's become obviously really important topics by 2020, and it should have been important topics even earlier, but anyway, that's another discussion. But judgment, we can often see in society. We don't often notice how much we're judging within ourselves, of ourselves, and we do that all the time, which creates a lot of unhappiness within ourselves. And part of that judgment of ourselves is part of this hobby of judging everything. And that is, this is me. I am comparing myself to this, and I decide where I stack up to that, and that comparison creates the idea of relativity. I am in something in relation to that. If there was no other that and it didn't have a value, you would kind of go, oh, we're just all the same. But we've created these hierarchies, and because we've created these hierarchies of judgment, we are comparing ourselves relative to something else. In order to be successful, for example, I must be successful against something. I'm successful, I'm here, this is as other people. I can't judge that without the relationship to other things. How much money have I got? Well, who cares about how much money I've got? But it only matters in relation to others. So poverty and wealth is relational, right? So, and as is everything else, right? Am I pretty enough? Okay, well, let's have a look in all the world. And am I pretty enough? Enough, I hate that word, is relational. So everything is relational. It's you only care in relation to other things. But actually, all things are beautiful, right? If you didn't have that judgment, then everything is equally beautiful in its creation and its function and its contribution. And it's only this relativity and then this judgment that makes us miserable. But if we just said, there are other things in the world and there are other people in the world, and regardless of anything, we share the same essence of life, nothing is better or worse than the other. Gosh, what peace, eh? Oh, there's a different person of a different skin colour over there. So what? We're all the same. We're all the same. We're all part of humanity. We're all part of life. It's this goddamn relationshipism. This judgment that is based on nothing. It's not really based on anything. It's just based on, other people's thoughts who lived prior to you. Now, lots of people had great thoughts prior to you. Why have we picked up the shitty ones? That's what I want to know. Who decided those ones were better, right? Well, we know what selfishness and egotism is what decided which ones were better. But the important thing to remember is that we have a choice in this relativism. We don't have to buy into it. We can buy out of these concepts because that's all they are. They're concepts, right? So we can buy out of judgment. We can decide we're not going to judge. We're not going to judge people on different things. We can see, we can observe, and we can enjoy cultural variance. We can enjoy and observe food variance. We can observe and we can see the difference and celebrate that difference. But we don't have to judge it. And this is the thing, is that we're so used to judging it. It's like, well, something's different. Yeah, so what? It's different. That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be different. Otherwise, we'd be all the same. There'd be nothing interesting in life. So the variety is not an invitation for judgment. Variety is the invitation of actually the understanding of unity. Oh, what would happen if we lived in a world like that, eh? So, I'm not going to say any more. I think you kind of get the concept. And to me, it feels like we are getting so many opportunities in 2020 to practice non-judgment. And a lot of people are falling into judgment, which is not the opportunity. But, you know, there is a lot. And also, I'm just going to say this one thing. The media, governments, and lots of those involved in the systems that are held up by judgment want to encourage you to judge. And don't fall for it, is all I'm going to say to you. Buy out of the judgment because it serves certain systems. It serves certain people to keep judgment going. But if we all bought out of it tomorrow, let's just buy out of all judgment tomorrow. If we buy out of judgment, the world would be very different. The systems would crumble. We could create a much more fairer, equal world by taking out the historical judgments, the current judgments, or judgment. None of it has any value. Judgment has no value in life. If we take out judgment, we choose every single moment to take out judgment out of our thoughts, we would create a better world. The systems would change. Equality, fairness, the values that we actually do believe in, that is in our essence, would be available to us. So I'm just going to say to you, buy out of that. Buy out of the relativity. Practice non-judgment. I'm doing it. It's still a practice. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same too. It will make your life so much better. Guaranteed. Try it and let me know.